Welcome and step into the minds of addiction and recovery. Hello, I'm your host, Brett C. It is an honor to bring into light one of the darkest aspects of our society, addiction. With 20 years of active addiction and 20 years of sobriety, I hope to bring together all listeners on a journey of inspiration and education. With my co-hosts Jared F. and Rich J., we will be sharing our experience, strength, and hope for all listeners to enjoy and have fun with. Now, F3 Recovery brings you the Super Sober Podcast. Welcome to the 25th episode of the Super Sober Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. You can see us on YouTube. We're on all streaming platforms. If you're just listening, just know we're going to be putting out a lot of pictures and stuff because we're blowing up another story right here. His name is Brandon Yu. But first, I just want to let you know, my name is Brett C. I'm your co-host. My sobriety date is 4/21/03. We got a bunch of people on here on the set today. It's going to be super cool. We're going to go to my left and we're going to introduce our co-hosts and some guests. Let's go with Al here.
My name is Al P. And my sobriety date, September 26, 2021.
Hey, my name is Justin H. My sobriety date is January 17th, 2021.
And our guest right here, go ahead and speak into it.
Hello, TV land. People in TV land, I'm Brandon Yu. My sobriety date is August 8th, 2011. Please make sure to like and subscribe on this video right here.
That's hey, thanks a lot, Brandon. Just want to let you know I'm an RN with the BSN also. We didn't shout out what we do as a profession. And what do you do?
Outside sales rep.
All right. And Justin?
I'm actually a kitchen assistant / chef.
All right.
I am a professional beggar /
True story.
sales. I'm a team lead for California for a company called Sum Up. Shout out Robbie.
And that's who's the picture on your shirt, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
get a
It's
zoom
him.
in on that one there, Solomon.
He's always at maximum service. I actually got these shoes from him. So you gotta love and show love and respect to people who are of service. They're normies too. So
that's awesome.
Good friend.
So we got a great podcast here. This is episode 25, guys. Can you believe it? If you haven't checked out the last 24, check it out. I know, right? Thanks a lot, Solomon. And don't forget about Solomon in the background here, the best producer in the business here at the podcast place in Long Beach. Big shout out, wave out right there.
Appreciate that.
He is always on the scene, if you know what I mean. If you want to go from zero to podcast, you can come on down here and do it. So a big shout out here for 25 episodes. And just wanted to do what we're doing now in the beginning of it is we shout out some sobriety dates here. Let's go. We got some awesome ones right here. We got Paul H with 13 years. Bam.
Boom.
Woohoo.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go on that one. And then we got Chris Z with 1 year.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Good job, Chris.
And we got Gus W with 1 year. Can you
Stop.
believe that one? Holy crap. And then
Go
we
Gus.
Go, Gus.
right over here, one of these, our co-hosts here, Justin H with 4 years.
What?
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
Let's go, dude. And then we got Moni C out there. Shout out, boom, on 1 year also. So we got some 1 year.
Good job, Moni.
Yay, Moni.
Right there into flipping the new year, people getting sober, right? Keeping it. And it's unbelievable stuff right there. And just want to let you know that it's also tax season, right? Man, if you're struggling or if you need someone that's more personable on tax season or a financial advisor or anybody, you got back taxes done, just know in back past episodes, Mike D, he's the remote tax doctor. We've also had a commercial. He's on our resources page on f3recovery.org. Just wanted to shout that out. He can help you out. He's been helping me out. He's been helping all types of brothers and sisters out. He gives discounts to people all over on the resources page. Just let a shout out. Let them know that Super Sober Podcast sent you out there.
I need his number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Yeah, there you go. It's on the resources page. So just want to say that real quick. All right. So let's just get into it right here. So my bro Brandon here over on the right, he is basically love, hate it, or like it. You can blame him for the Super Sober Podcast. Because
It's going to be lit or it's going to be a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
I'm going to do my job properly and get it lit for you, right?
Yeah, that's
go.
right. And so when I was going to start promoting for the Detox the Script series I wrote, and he gave me the number to Anthony B. that's on podcast 11. Shout out to you, brother, out there on out in Ohio, starting Brown Manor. And I said, did you know him or whatever? If you know anybody that knows Brandon, if you like mention something and he can help you out, he's all sure. So boom, he gave me the number to Anthony B. I called him, and then who knows? A year and a half later, here we go, and then now he's on episode number 25. So every time, just might know a guy. So every time that I put out a reel or anything SSP related or F3 recovery, he's super supportive. He hits the like button. He's on it. And then I was looking for a social media person. Of course, Brandon knew someone in social media too. And here he is right here, Brandon, working on year 14. Wow. Awesome, brother. Always humble as always. And maybe he's blushing a little bit. Maybe he couldn't tell, but here we go. We're going to go. Brandon's been supportive with everything. So it's only just fitting that on episode 25 that we're going to do that. And so we have Al here that has a long history with Brandon in the disease, out of the disease, and how Brandon helped him. This is a little preluding on to later in the podcast. And then also Justin, we have our first sponsor relationship on the Super Sober podcast. Wow. And we're going to shout out a little bit of, Justin's going to tell a little bit how Brandon's been helping him too. So let's get into it. Let's get to know Brandon a little bit. Shout out into a little bit of war story, how it was, and all that stuff.
Brett, my social security number is
Hold on, let me get a pen.
No, so first and foremost, I'd love to just thank God for my sobriety and for the opportunity to be here. I'm humbled and delighted. Sobriety,
yeah.
Quite frankly, I didn't want to be sober. Keep it real. I didn't want to be sober. As far as war stories goes, for those of you watching, whether you're, an addict or alcoholic or an Al-Anon, you're new or, thinking about becoming new again or any of those, I've been, all of those. And, a little bit of back history.
Yeah, where'd you grow up and everything?
So
how was that?
It was good.
I've actually met your mom and some of this stuff and how cool your family is and how supportive of you are. So let's hear a little bit.
Yeah. So like Brett, she is also from the medical field.
Uh-huh.
My parents, mom and dad raised my brother and I. We grew up in Santa Ana for some time, and my parents moved us to Chino Hills because it was getting saturated with activities that they didn't want us to be involved in. And parents gave us everything that we needed. Everything that I needed was always there.
And a geographical for you too.
Geographical as well. And, growing up, I was a kind of a nerd. I was,
okay.
I was, wasn't the most popular. I was a skater, young, had big glasses. And, sometimes we would get picked on or whatever. And I didn't really feel like I fit in. And I always wanted to be that cool guy, Mr. Cool or whatever. So my parents moved us to the city of Chino Hills, and 8th grade, I was noticing I wasn't getting any attention from the females and things like that, and I wasn't part of the cool clique or whatever. And that's around the time where I started noticing, like, the popular people, parties started, and all those things. So a friend of mine that I had, we got his older brother to get us, of course, 8-ball, Old English 800, 40 ounce. And once I took that, I got super sick, but it took away the feelings of fear. I was always pretty insecure about myself, wanted to be accepted, and just didn't feel like I didn't fit in, kind of thing, and, those fears and stuff immediately vanished. And that's what kicked it off. So, started drinking pretty much every weekend throughout high school, got introduced to some other things, extracurricular activities.
Dry goods?
Dry goods, yeah, man. I, started with weed and
Natural
dabbled in
progression.
Cocaine, PCP, acid.
How old were you in this picture right here that you have of Solomon?
That was like last year, dude.
No. What about some other pictures? Can you throw a couple of the other ones?
Yeah, there I am,
in that
looking
one?
like a baked.
I wish we had that unpixelated in there.
Actually,
and for the
built that.
listening audience, that you'll have to check out the pictures on YouTube. But.
Yeah, I built that bike that he has the picture of, and it got stolen, man. I was super bummed about that. I love that thing. But yeah, I participated in all kinds of whatever could change the way I felt about myself and
Right.
change my perception.
So you're progressed student. So when did you first take that first drink? That old English. How old were you?
13, 14, something like that.
Okay.
And it was just
progressed
off and
right into
running.
high school.
Dude, I was working in a restaurant, and I got introduced through the cooks in the
all
back that's
partying
making
going
more
there.
money than the managers in the front of the
Yeah.
house. They had, some
Yeah.
the dry goods and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, everything, I would take anything and everything. And eventually I got introduced to like the love of my life or whatever,
Right.
which was crystal methamphetamines.
Yeah,
Also the
me
end
too.
of my, beautiful nightmare with that thing.
Especially
And,
there in Chino and stuff too.
You go anywhere, man. Santa Ana's got it too.
Yeah, too.
It's funny. My parents moved my brother and I to Chino Hills to get us away from what was going on. And my dumbass drove back into Santa Ana
Yeah.
because, the people that I grew
That's
up
where
with.
you knew it was, but it
knew
was
where to get it.
everywhere.
Knew how to find it.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Truth is, I had a lot of fun with drinking, drugs, and I wouldn't have stopped. I wouldn't have stopped. I'm not going to go into, a lot of the war stories. I loved the way it made me feel.
Mhm.
Initially, I would use it kind of to go to clubs, parties, right? The undergrounds,
Yeah.
backyard parties, and all those things, party crews. I got involved. I gave up skateboarding to become like the cool guy, like at school, and to be accepted and be in that whole
Yeah, because the skaters were kind of outcast punk rockers a little bit. Yeah.
little bit.
Uh-huh.
Little bit. And so, I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be Mr. Big Shot. I wanted the good looking girls. And that's how I saw how they were getting it. So I just, got involved in that stuff.
Mhm.
I had a lot of fun with alcohol and drugs. It just progressed. I did well in high school, right?
Did you graduate?
I did.
Okay, good.
I did. I actually did graduate from high school. And then I went into college, and it just, eventually somewhere in between high school and college, I believe is where it was at. I crossed that line to where it was no longer recreational. It just, I had to have it. Like, it was weekends at first.
Then more responsibilities were presented to you too, right? You couldn't just be full-time partying.
Yeah.
Right. So I was working, and I needed something. I needed to be on something to go to school, to, even if it's like Thanksgiving dinner,
Yeah.
I needed to be on something. I couldn't be present. I was not comfortable in my own skin.
Mm.
I had to be loaded. And, through my extracurricular activities, you know how it goes. I got DUIs, 4 DUIs to be exact.
Wow.
PC 1000, Prop 36, multiple rehabs, including one in Mexico in Ensenada.
Did you do any ayahuasca down there or anything? Like
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Okay,
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure I did.
It seems to be all the rage and stuff. A lot of people going down into Mexico and doing other drugs to enlighten themselves with
Oh,
their
okay.
spiritual experience.
Jerry Garcia stuff.
Mhm, yeah.
So no,
That'll probably be another educational podcast down the line or something.
probably. So I was introduced, to the rooms very early on, pretty much.
Mhm.
And I can say whatever, I think the other person wants me.
So how old were you when you went to your first rehab then?
20s,
Okay.
22 maybe,
Okay.
something like that.
Early
Court
in the
order, of
game.
course.
Okay. Yeah.
Nudge from the
uh-huh.
judge.
That's right.
Um,
That's how a lot of us.
So
get
that was
in
from
trouble.
one of the DUIs that you got introduced to treatment, or
yeah, I think I got a DUI under the influence of methamphetamine or something.
okay?
I think I went through Cedar House, maybe my first one in
Okay.
Bloomington.
Okay.
So, I got loaded, of course, on the pass when I was in there, and I was just doing it to get the microscope, to get up the heat off of me,
Right.
basically, right? So the way that I operate is, I get like the microscope on me, and I'll do whatever I have to do to get that taken off. And the minute it's off, bam, I'm
Yeah.
off and running
Yeah.
again, right? And I never understood the severity of alcoholism, excuse me.
Assholism.
Right? It's cunning and baffling. I loved partying. There's 3 stages to alcoholism.
Right.
Stage 1 is the fun phase, right? That's where everything is fun. And for me, I'm gonna push fun until there's not an ounce of fun left.
Right.
Right?
Is there any other way to do that?
No other way. Stage 2,
Right.
fun plus problems. Everything's still fun, but now you got the problems coming.
Right.
You got the Cedar House coming. You got DUIs. You got parents giving ultimatums. It's either us or, us or the drugs. You have to choose, right?
Right.
Eventually, if you're lucky enough, you get to stage 3, which is just problems.
Yeah.
That's where the fun is gone. There's no fun. There's not any fun left. Unfortunately, I was able to get to that point where I had to make a decision, this is enough. And it took a lot for me to get to that place. If anybody's watching this and you're struggling with, not sure if you're alcoholic or addict, I understand that.
Right.
And drugs and alcohol were fun though, man, for a lot of years.
Absolutely.
What ended up happening is towards the end, it became a beautiful nightmare. I'm a pretty outgoing person, and I like to, embrace people, talk to people, meet new people. Well, towards the end, I was isolated by myself. Quite frankly, I was having auditory and visual hallucinations. I was hearing messages from the TV. I was having like telepathic conversations with the TV and novellas. I didn't even fully speak Spanish, and I thought I was having full on. That's a scary place to be, man.
Yeah.
I'd be in my parents' garage, painting pentagrams on the garage floor, talking to myself. And when you're in a position like that, the fun is gone, man. There's no more fun. But I didn't know how to stop. I wanted to, I thought I knew this is not right. Like when you're aware that your thinking is crazy, but you don't know how to communicate that, or how you doing? Oh, well, I'm hearing things, Brett, how you doing? That's not an easy place to be.
Right. Yeah.
It's very scary.
It's always a good conversation starter.
Always.
I'm not even on planet Earth right now.
Yeah. Right. I was, I remember
So
having.
how did you get out of that phase? So you went into Cedar House, you got introduced, but then you ended up getting loaded. You went to PC 1000, you ended up getting loaded.
So
Went to Prop 36 and you ended up getting loaded after that, right?
Yeah. So I don't remember chronologically the order that I went.
Right.
PC 1000, Prop 36, multiple rehabs, Cedar House, outpatient programs, Inland Valley Recovery Services, House of Hope in Ensenada. And, I would pick up bits and pieces, but I was not thoroughly convinced that I thought it was just, I got into some trouble. Right. I didn't understand the severity of it.
Right.
And it ultimately progressed. I'd jump through the hoops in these places and I'd say whatever the counselor wanted me to say. What's step one? We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and then our life's unmanageable. I can memorize that. But do I really believe that?
Right.
It's a whole different story.
Right.
So I would jump through the hoops, and eventually what happened is, I got to that place where I was hallucinating. I was hearing things. This is all after I'd been through all those programs.
That's what I was going to ask.
Right?
Yeah. Like at the end of it.
At the end.
Yeah.
And
I mean, when those things were happening, like, where you, because I've had outer body experiences and stuff too. And were you scared when those things were happening, like the auditory and
well, yes and no. So
I get that.
I was scared, but I would also engage into it. I'd like play into it. Like, oh, this is there's be times when I'd be out there like talking to the thin air and stuff, and the neighbors, I'm sure tell my parents, what the hell's wrong with your kid or whatever, or your son. And I would engage in it because it seems real.
Right.
A lot of it, right?
Yeah.
It's scary, but when you're coming down and you think that's the only thing that's going to make you feel better, medicate, I had no other choice.
Yep.
I didn't have a choice. I had to do it. Right.
Yeah. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it was scary, man. It was terrible. I mean,
and that's the kind of thing that long-term meth abuse and a lot of other drugs like that will lead you down the road.
Yeah.
As soon as you make contact with the illusions and the delusions and the confusions and all that, they say in the depths of a mind, insane reality and fantasy are the same. Shout out to some Slayer lyrics right there. And boom. So, I mean, it's true though. But once you're in that inward negative spiral of that, it is reality.
Totally.
In that you can hear it, you can see it, you can make contact with the aliens, you can talk to the tree people. And
very familiar with the shadow people, man.
I was very taught well with my addiction to never engage and make contact like that. even though it was there, I always walked the other way. You know, someone popped out of the tree, and it's like, holy shit, I'm not making contact.
You know, this
I don't know how how on my side of it that I was able to have the constitution to do such a thing, but I
remember this.
I understand.
I remember this one time. It's just popping up in my mind. I was on a sick one, man, and I was seeing like demons and devils and all this crazy madness, right? So I come from a pretty religious family, and I go in and, of course, tell my mom what I'm seeing, right? And so I go back out, and she's, you know, I can't remember exactly what she said, and I went out to do some more or whatever. I came back in, and I'm like, you need to call the paramedics right now. And she's like, what's wrong? Did you do too much drugs? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, what'd you do? And I told her, she goes, well, too bad. You're just going to have to die then.
Oh shit.
She said that
at
because
the end of
she
it.
knew what was going. She had had it with me at that point, right? Of course she would have called, but I ended up picking up the phone and calling the paramedics, and they're like, man, they came over to my parents' house, and like, your heart's beating like a racing little rabbit or whatever, right? And you do what happened? You do too much speed? Yes, sir.
Yes.
No. Well, you know, what do I do to please help me or whatever? And they took care of me. So
How did they take care of you? What did they do?
I don't remember.
They didn't take you in or anything.
No, they
just
didn't.
Kind of kept you on the spot.
They just had me sit down and like drink water.
That's usually all we need, right?
Calm down.
A little H2O.
It'll be okay.
Maybe a
It'll be
little
fine.
food might help out here.
Did a little too much speed, young
Yeah.
man. Just relax.
So that on the end of it, so that's basically the end. So what was the moment of clarity? Where was this defining point that you finally hit into?
So the moment I was getting pulled over was actually on my 4th DUI. I was getting pulled over one more time on Bristol and First. So, you know,
It's Orange County here, guys. And,
oh, sorry, guys.
yeah, no problem. Go ahead.
So I ended up going to some people's to score some stuff or whatever.
Mhm.
It was about 2 a.m. They weren't there. So I knew that the homeless population down in the courthouse where the police are and all that stuff,
Right, yeah. Oh,
I could get it from them, right?
Yeah.
So I went over there and I got some, and I'm driving down in the city of Santa Ana, First and Bristol. I'm making a right, and Orange County Sheriff disco lights one more time.
Yeah.
And at that exact moment, something hit me. I can't do this anymore. Like, my thinking, I'm horrible at making decisions.
Yeah.
And then to add on to that, you know, my dad has always, my parents have always bailed me out of everything. They've bought me multiple cars. They pulled me out of jail numerous times. My mom wanted to leave me in there. I was looking at quite a bit of time in the penitentiary or whatever.
Right.
And my dad comes to visit me, and he said, I'm going to get you out of this one last time. He said, he looked at me and he said, your mom's going to leave you in here. I'm doing this one last time. If you do this again, you're on your own. And I knew he meant it. And that just solidified, like, all right, I got to try something different.
Right.
So at that point in time, I developed a slight willingness to.
A slight willingness.
Slight willingness.
The
Just
crack
a
in the
little, just a
door.
little bit, right?
Moment of clarity.
Just a little bit.
So it's like a combination, like that feeling that you had when you got pulled over that last time, and then dad coming to see you, kind of like you said, just solidified, like, man, this is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just hit me from nowhere. Like I at that point, you know, it'd been so much money, so much time, so many brain cells just killed, so many cars crashed, so many I'm sorry, so many of my parents, my grandparents, everybody just diving in to save me all the time. My dad never said anything really. He was always there, and then he looked at me straight in the eye and said, "If you do this, you're fucking on your own. If you do this again," and I knew, like, that just locked it in. Like, all right. This is something serious, you know? Like, I knew when I saw the sheriff's lights go off, like, I was almost
This
thankful.
Is your 4th DUI. Yeah.
4th. I was, you know, I was kind of grateful, honestly.
Right.
Because I was like, okay, they're going to stop me. Like, I don't have to do this anymore. That's how I felt.
I'm sure there's probably maybe, right, correct me if I'm wrong, a little tension between your folks because mom she was done. Dad's coming one last time. So they're like in disagreement on, you know, and so you probably felt that, obviously.
So, yeah.
Him coming. You knew that, you know, So
The problem is that I'm not even, when I'm in that state of mind, I'm not even aware. Like
Right.
I'm kind of slightly aware, but it's
Right.
pretty foggy. But my mom would tell me straight out, like, hey, this is creating problems with your dad and I. Like,
yeah,
you
Yeah,
know,
dude.
we're arguing over whose fault and what is this from and who created this. And they don't know, you know,
Right.
like,
whatever. Just give me $20.
yeah, can I borrow $20? I got to get an oil change.
Yeah.
Right.
So you get bailed. So that you get bailed out, you get let out. What happened? This is the start of your new journey here, right? Of 14 years now.
Yeah. So I got introduced to this thing. So I ended up going to an AA meeting in the city of Chino, the Umbrella Club. Shout out Umbrella Club.
Uh-huh.
A friend of mine introduced me to this guy named David Nissen, who's an attorney. He's one of us, right?
Mhm.
And he says, reach out to this guy. And I reached out to him. He got me into this DUI court program, which I'm so thankful for. Seriously. It was a lot of work. You know, I went through Charlie Street.
Shout out Charlie.
Shout out Charlie Street. What's up, Bubbles? The Charlie Street is the First Step House of Orange County.
Mhm.
It's a low bottom indigent detox for people that have nothing left. It's the last house on the block.
So you ended up there, huh? So they got you out of jail, but they said your recovery's on you. That you didn't go to another rehab. You got into a drunk school, and then you went to Charlie Street.
So I had to get drunk to go into Charlie Street or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. So I went to Charlie Street. I had to go into sober living, and I had DUI court. Right. So Al can remember. Al remembers when I had all this stuff going on. I actually knew Al before I made the attempt to really be sober, like put forth a solid effort. We've been friends for a long time. So, yeah, I went through the DUI court program, and that was a lot of work. So you have a formal probation officer.
Mhm.
I had to take the bus. Remember that, Al? I
Yeah.
had to take the bus from the sober living to Santa Ana in the mornings, and then I'd take the bus. And if I was 1 minute late, they would sanction me and put me in jail sober overnight or whatever, right?
Let's go.
Yep. You know what, though? It actually taught me punctuality. It taught
Right.
me so many different things, like the importance of punctuality
Yeah.
and being on time and promptness. And we had all kinds of cool people.
But you weren't feeling that in the moment, though.
I was not.
But in retrospect,
I was not.
the things we don't think that are lessons that are actually lessons. It's crazy.
You know, alcoholism or addiction is kind of like, this is my perception, this world, right?
Mhm.
And this is, you know, a problem that I have or something that I'm experiencing, a thought. This phone represents that, right?
Mhm.
The way that my mind works is, let's say it's a financial worry or something. I could be sitting here talking to you, and as I'm talking to you, the thought comes in like this,
Right.
and then I duct tape this within my own mind. And as you're talking to me, I'm like, oh, that sounds good. That sounds good, right?
Right.
I don't know. I don't have the tools to ask somebody to, hey, Brett, can you help me? I can't see, man. I got
Right.
this problem, right? So when I was initially introduced to the program or, you know, DUI court and actively putting forth effort, I had two, you know, emotions, red and black, strong and really strong, right? Nothing in between, right? So I had to, it wasn't easy, you know. My mind is kind of like, let's say Justin, I see Justin, he has this delicious buttery popcorn, right?
Right.
This is how my mind operates. So I'm like, man, I want some of what Justin has. So I asked Justin, how did you get that popcorn? And Justin says, what do you say, Justin?
Follow the directions.
Boom.
He would say, exactly. Great
Right
answer, right? So I would say, okay, well, how long, you know, what did you do? Justin says, I cooked it I just followed the directions for 1.5 minutes, right?
Mhm.
And what do? I run over to the microwave and I want mine to taste just a little bit better than his. So I'm like, okay, he said 1.5. It says 1.5. I put it in there for 2.5.
Right.
Why, right? I don't know why I do that. Comes down to direction. I don't know how to follow direction. And what ends up happening?
Right.
The popcorn comes out nothing remotely even close to his.
Right.
It's burnt. It's black. It tastes horrible. So I'm like scratching my head. So I go back to Justin again. Justin, how did you get your popcorn like that? And Justin says, what?
Just follow the directions.
What do I do next time?
You don't follow the directions.
That's right. And it's not easy.
There's already butter inside the bag. You don't need to butter the bag. You don't need that.
My point is like, I don't know how to follow direction. Right. So when I'm introduced to these rooms, you know, I have this mind for some reason that I don't know. I want the smile and the things that the people that are sober have, but I don't want to do those things.
Right.
Like the steps on the wall, right? I remember looking at those steps on the wall in Charlie Street and thinking, I can do these steps in like 10 minutes, dude.
That's right.
Right? And it's sobriety. It just doesn't work that way.
No.
You know?
It takes time. It just takes time.
And I want the things that you have, people like yourself and Al and Justin, but I don't want to even do it that way because do you want to know the truth why I don't want to do it that way? Because I didn't think of it. That's why. Pure ego, right?
Pure ego. Holy crap. That's how a lot of people come in like that.
Yeah.
Well, this is awesome right here. We're going to take a break right here in the middle of the podcast. We're going to go to our sponsor. We're going to do a quick commercial, and that's His House New Creation. And if anybody needs help, you just call this number at 844-342-5254. And that number again is 844-342-5254. And that's His House New Creation out there in the IE and all around the Riverside area. And if you need any help and you're struggling, or you have a family member that's struggling, or you're thinking about trying to find the right place to go, he's been in business for over 30 years. He's opening up a 71-bed treatment center right now in Claremont area. Just know that I'm an alumni there. I'm working on year 22 of my own. If you want to meet Glenn, who's the owner, we do a behind the scenes podcast on that. And that's on episode 12, actually. And he's going to be coming back on, doing a lot of promotion there and everything. And let's just go to the commercial and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the place where it all began, the 9th Street House. Our maiden journey into hope and recovery for His House New Creation treatment centers since 1994. Right next door, the 9th Street apartment building stands as a testament to our commitment to providing comfortable and safe spaces for recovery. And on the other side, nestled amidst nature's best, our Palm House offers a tranquil haven to begin the path to sobriety. You'll find 12 unique His House New Creation treatment centers across Southern California. Just as recovery encompasses inner and outer transformation, our facilities mirror this philosophy. The external beauty of our homes reflect the nurturing and healing environments you'll discover within. These are just glimpses of the harmonious spaces where we support your journey to recovery. Our state-licensed and highly accredited programs echo this sentiment. We know that successful addiction treatment is more than skin deep. It requires a robust plan that heals the mind, strengthens the body, and nourishes the soul. We select the best facility to cater to your unique needs, providing focused, compassionate care that sets you firmly on the path to sobriety and hope. Welcome to His House New Creation Treatment Centers, where the journey to a healthier you begins. Your recovery begins here with us.
All right. Thanks for listening to His House New Creations commercial there and how they're doing and helping the public. Just know they've been serving the community for over 30 years. We're going to get right back into stories of recovery here with Brandon Yu, working on year 14. We left off just before the commercial there, getting to the point of where he got sober in his early journey of sobriety, which was going through, burning through PC 1000, Prop 36, getting his 4th DUI, and he went into sober living, started trusting the program. His father gave him that final ultimatum, got a moment of clarity. Whatever, everybody in recovery has that process where it just kind of clicked and that moment happened and we took it from there, man, without that moment, right? And so we're going to get on here. We got a couple of co-hosts. We're all bros. We all go to meetings together. Been going to meetings with Brandon for like probably maybe 5 years now or so.
Sounds about right.
We've been in around the circle, but just never kind of hooked up or went to meetings or met each other. I mean, you could be sober with people. There's so many different groups and areas and places and people and things. You never know. You just you can be sober for a long time and then finally meet somebody, and they've been sober for so long, and they're like right down the street, or right around the corner, or maybe living right next door to you, and you didn't even know. So let's go into a little bit right here as Brandon was alluding into that a little bit about seeing people get sober, that you knew that they went and got sober, that you used to use with or something, as Brandon was alluding with Al. Let's just maybe go in a quick little 5 minutes or so about how you felt seeing Brandon go get sober, and then you were still using and everything, but now you're working on year 4,
Right.
and you had almost a couple years before that and everything. Let's get into a little bit of dynamic. We're going to do a little dynamic like that with Al, and we're also going to do a little dynamic like that with Justin and stuff.
Yeah. So Brandon and I met each other through employer work, and I wasn't sober. I just wasn't doing drugs at the time. For me, for the longest time, being sober was just staying off the dope.
Yeah.
And, so I would, drink socially, smoked a little pot, but we worked together, and Brandon, I didn't know he was, well, I don't know, we were, we had went out work, we worked in the field, we're appointment set and stuff like that. And it was almost,
Did you guys actually party together?
no,
No.
Thank
no,
God.
thank God.
We'd
Yeah.
probably be dead. dude.
Yeah, yeah, so, but Brandon had made a comment, at the end of our day, it was Friday, payday, and he's like, yeah, man, you need to stop by the smoke shop. I need to give me a glass pipe, and he kind of laughed, and I, we smoked cigarettes and stuff like that, so I stopped and thought he was just playing around, and found out later that, that's exactly what he did, is he got a pipe, and
And that's like what, 16 years ago or something? Or?
just about, dude.
Yep.
Okay.
And then another time we're supposed to be doing a home show, and I think I drove my personal car that day, and I don't know if he intentionally left his work phone in the car because he was going to get loaded, and so he didn't want to go to the home. I'm not sure, but I just know that he showed up in my apartment. You know what I mean? Skirt! He pulls up in the middle. It was a fourplex, older, in the city of Orange, and pulls up all crazy sideways. He's like, hey, bro, I think I left my work phone in your car.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, man, you could check. And, my girlfriend at the time was like, what the hell's going on? I'm like, oh, I think Brandon left the, work phone in the car. So he's like all in there. And I'm like, oh, man, this guy's on a good one, dude.
Yeah.
And so, of course, my girlfriend know that I was trying to stay off of drugs, and I wasn't using at that time, but she was a little sketchy, like, you fucking getting high. Like, why is he here? And I'm like, nah, dude. Like, anyways, so, but then, yeah, that happened. Fast forwarding, Brandon got that DUI, and I got
You
a
were
chance
aware
to
of that
see.
too, right?
Yeah.
You guys were in contact.
Well,
you guys have kind of been
We're
in
working
contact for a
together.
long
He
time.
got in a sober living. He actually let me use his car because he couldn't drive, and so I would help him out with giving him rides, picking him up. I had a Suburban at the time. It was eating up gas, and and that's how really we started our friendship.
Mhm.
Still worked together, and then I ended up going back out. Actually had a good friend of the family, like related as cousins. Actually got him on the team, and I started doing and dealing drugs again,
Mhm.
and I tried to hide it from all the fellas, and it came to a point where I was really struggling, and actually told our boss at the time that I wanted to go to rehab or outpatient, so I took some time off,
And you knew that he was already in. So
Yeah.
Was it kind of inspiring to know that he went?
yeah, well, it was
Exactly.
it was bittersweet because, like, at the same time, knowing that most of the team was sober for the most part,
Yep.
or trying to stay sober, I, like I said, for me, sober was just staying off of dope. So, but once I went out, I mean, like, even when I admitted that, Brandon's like, man, I fucking knew it, dude. I had a feeling, bro. I could tell, but but I hid it to a certain degree that he wasn't 100%, but, so I felt a little bit, because I was the team leader at that time, and here I am dropping off the group of canvassers, and I go to the park, smoke speed. You know what I mean? It's just, crazy stuff that we do, knowing that I'm putting these guys that are working on program sobriety in jeopardy. Not only that, from a legal standpoint too. And so anyways, Brandon stayed sober, dude. You know what I mean? From that last time around, and me going in and out of my disease, mostly in my addiction. Once I had got back into that, dude, I stayed into it pretty heavy, ended up going to prison and stuff like that. But I'd always connect with him. He'd reach out, and he'd give so much support to someone that you can give that, really, but isn't willing,
Right.
And Brandon always said, man, Al, you got a lot of fucking good ideas, bro, but unless you implement some change, dude. You know, nothing's gonna change. They're just fucking ideas.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, yeah, you know. But he's just always been a constant, dude. And me finally coming into the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and, you know, giving this thing a shot, you know, our friendship then is able, you know, just flourish. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, even for me, man, that was the hardest thing is like, it's hard to keep good friends, even family or whatever, at bay, you know, when you're sober. And I got to experience that. Like, I understand that now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I could see that, you know, it's just what it's about. People hopefully, you know, on some level become willing and we're able to help. You know, I think that's probably one of the hardest things is whether it's family or good friends and they're just not willing. Can't do shit for them, dude. You know, I mean, that's the truth. That's the harsh reality.
Yeah, but he was
So,
leading the way, and you knew
yeah,
that there was a way, and you seen that. And,
yeah. He's
that's
just,
super cool about Brandon. Is he
man,
always
got a lot of
so-
love for Brandon, you know?
Yeah, he's always got a great attitude. He always kind of remind me of Tigger a little bit. You know,
T.I.
he's got that
Tigger.
great attitude going on, and coming from the depths of such a terrible story, and then the depths of auditory hallucinations and seeing demons, and then living your best life and getting to your authentic self. And that's why we have Justin here also too. Wanted to bring on that on our first sponsor relationship. Justin, congratulations again on your 4
Yes,
years
sir.
and everything.
Thank you.
Justin's got a great story here building up. He's going to be a future episode, I'm sure. There's been so many awesome things happening with him. But when you hear Justin share, and we'd usually be at our Wednesday night meeting over at the Step House and stuff. And Justin shares about what he's going to share about, like what happened with him, and then how his trajectory and how Brandon was there to help him in his time of need in a moment too. So let's hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just recently telling this story to my parents and pretty much thanking them for setting their boundaries. Now, both my parents are in Al-Anon,
Yeah,
so
that's good.
thanks to me, but they're doing it for themselves. But they've been going to Al-Anon for many years, and they're really good at setting their boundaries. So when I got sober this time, they pretty much cut all ties with me. All my family members, they weren't necessarily talking to me. They wouldn't pick up my phone calls. They wouldn't respond to my texts. All my friends that I thought I had were just non-existent at this point. You know, I isolate when I drink and use. So I like to lock myself in a room and just don't talk to anybody. But you know, on this particular day, I was looking for a solution. Now, I had met Brandon about 10 years before, and at Charlie Street. I met him on the Thursday night, which is typically the meeting Brandon goes to at Charlie Street on
Right.
Thursday night.
Being
And
of service.
I asked him to sponsor me 10 years ago. Well,
I don't think I do that.
yeah, I was at
Okay.
Charlie Street,
All right.
and Brandon must have been my first sponsor. And it was my first time going through Charlie Street.
hmm
Mind you, I went through there 4 times, but shout out Charlie
Maybe
Street.
show a couple Charlie Street
Yeah.
photos up there, Solomon.
But it's funny. At the time, I guess we I was looking for someone else to be my sponsor, so I had someone else sponsor me at the time. But I always remained friends with Brandon on Facebook, and throughout this 10-year process, you know, and I'm in and out the program. I'm in and out of treatment centers, psych wards, hospitals, pretty much living my life on self-will for about 10 years. And they say this program is based on attraction rather than promotion.
Right.
Brandon's posts that he posts on Facebook he's always smiling.
Yeah.
There's always something
he's
going
very
on in his
active on
life.
social media.
Yeah, he's pretty active in social media, and I noticed that too.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like his life is looking pretty good. So I guess in January of 2021, I had decided to reach out to Brandon, and I don't know what I said because I was drunk, but I remember I gave him a phone call and we talked for about 16 minutes. Mind you, I had no one that would answer the phone call for me, but Brandon did. I don't know what our conversation was about, but he stayed on the phone with me for 16 minutes. I think it was about going to a meeting. You know, I was kind of looking for a solution. I didn't know if I wanted to work a program. I just wanted to stop living the way I was living. And this time around, I was staying at an Airbnb, and it was about time for me to move out. Well, I was out of options. I didn't know where to go. Money had run out. It was towards the end of COVID. I just was in really bad shape. and I ended up going to the hospital. And while in the hospital, they told me that we can't keep you here.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah,
Why not?
but we can't let you go anywhere by yourself. So I'm like, so what do you expect me to do? They said, do you have someone you can call? I said, no, I don't. I literally have no one I can call that will come and pick me up. Well, I remember looking at my phone on Facebook Messenger, and Brandon shows up, and I shoot him a message, just complete God shot. And I said, look, bro, I'm in the hospital. I need some help. I need someone to come and pick me up. I have no one else I can call. Can you help me? And he said, what hospital are you at? And he ends up showing up for me about 6 o'clock in the morning. It may have been a little later. I was still a wreck. And he picks me up in his car. Nice BMW with a smile on his face. And that was the first time I've seen someone genuinely smile at me in quite some time. It must have been years. And from that point on, it kind of gave me a little bit of hope that this program could actually work for me if I just follow simple direction. And I didn't have a sponsor at the time. So that day I asked him if you'd be my sponsor. You know, I was really willing and ready to work a program, but I wasn't 100% convinced yet. You know, I didn't know if I would be able to make it through these 12 steps. But Brandon, he said it before here. He calls it Sobriety. So I knew there was no time frame on how I'll finish these steps when I finish these steps. It's Sobriety. There's a process. Right. And yeah, him showing up for me really restored my faith in the Alcoholics Anonymous program. Mm-hmm. He taught me the meaning of suiting up and showing up for people. And that's how I stay sober today is I suit up and I show up for people, doing panels, meetings, sponsoring other gentlemen in the program. We show up for other people. And yeah, he's been my sponsor ever since. And
that's awesome.
It's been an awesome journey. And we have a lot of fun in this program. And Brandon taught me how to have fun, especially in my first year. Right. Because I didn't think you could have fun in sobriety.
Right?
You know?
Yeah. My life's over. I have to go to AA.
Yeah.
Right?
But,
God damn it.
Yeah, my first year in sobriety, every weekend we were at a meeting and we go to dinner afterwards. And I was introduced to more people. We were going to panels. We were going to meetings in LA, Riverside County, skydiving.
Yeah, let's see a couple photos of the skydiving up there, Solomon. Yep, that's the Step House, a group that we go to on Wednesdays right there. That's Brandon right there.
My honey, Angela and Tan Man.
Shout out to Angela.
Tanner.
Awesome.
Hey, there's my sponsor, Matt T, his wife Dana, Angela,
with Thomas
Tanner,
Thomas
and their little boy, and Thomas the train. Yeah,
Thomas the tank engine
don't
back
forget
there.
Thomas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, look at that.
I think that was at the...
That was in Nitro
Circus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's rad, dude.
Love you, honey.
Take me
Look
out
at
to
that
the
one.
ball game.
That was what was the Angels game, right?
Yeah.
Having
The Angels
fun.
and the Dodgers.
Angels.
Cycling down, maybe. Yep.
There's Danny.
Yep.
And then God rest his soul, Jeff's no longer with us. I used to sponsor him. Gentleman on the end.
Yeah, I remember Jeff. Mr. Bubbles.
Shout out Mr. Bubbles. There's Andy. Mr. Bubbles from Charlie Street.
Shout out, bro.
Yep.
Charlie Street.
That's
First
cool.
Step House.
We got Justin, Taylor, Ryan.
All types
Wu-Tang.
of good times. So you're going to have to check it out on YouTube for these pictures, but these are just a chronicling and stuff, people having a good time and then just showing all that stuff. That's them. Skydiving.
Yeah, we went skydiving for my first year of sobriety. Brandon asked me, he said, what do you want to do for your first year? And I said, let's jump out of an airplane.
Oh, shit. Yeah, let's go.
So we actually did that in Oceanside. That was the greatest experience of my life.
Is that something you always wanted to do, or you just was like...
That's just something I didn't think I could do.
Right?
But to be honest with you, I didn't think I could stay sober.
That's rad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
why not?
So you've been living in that sober living and everything too, right? Did Brandon help you get into the
So funny
Step House
story
of Garden
about the
Grove?
sober living. I was staying at a temporary housing facility in Anaheim, and part of my job while staying there was to find permanent housing. So I looked around at other sober livings and didn't really find a good fit. And I got an interview at Step House in Garden Grove.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the questions they ask you when they interview you is, do you have a sponsor?
Yeah, of
And I
course.
said, yeah, I have a sponsor. His name's Brandon. They're like, Brandon. And they looked at me and they're like, does his last name start with you? I'm like, yeah, Brandon Yu. And I was like, he goes to Charlie Street on Thursday night. I'm doing my best to describe him.
Yeah.
And they already know because
Yeah.
Brandon's been going there for years
Right.
on their Wednesday night meeting.
It's like, boom, he knows Brandon Yu here.
They were
And
like,
you're
he
in.
knows
Just showing.
Brandon Yu. So it just happened to be a huge coincidence that Brandon has been going to that meeting on Wednesday nights.
Absolutely.
And I told Brandon, like,
No
I'm
coincidences.
interviewing.
No.
I guess no
God shot,
coincidences, God shot. But I told Brandon I was interviewing at the Step House, and he said if you can get in there, that'd be great. And yeah, I've been there ever since.
That's amazing. Thanks for shouting out some personal
Brandon's got the
stories.
key to the city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He got me into the job that I'm at.
I'm a
You know what I
little
mean?
man.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's kind of funny though, because I sponsor Al. So I didn't even mention that, that, and it's sponsored, both ways like that. So,
That was my emergency contact on my phone.
yeah.
Who would have thunk, right?
And so let's go into a few minutes here. We're kind of getting down towards the end of a podcast. This has been amazing and everything. Let's talk about where you're at right now, brother, with what's going on. You're in a not new relationship, but your girl's in sobriety. We're a big fan of Angela F out there. Just took 6 years, shouted her out.
Wow.
And you guys have been going out together for a while. Two people that met in a program that had solid sobriety decide to coexist together and make a relationship. It's been cool. And you guys have been doing some super fun things lately. Let's talk about 5 minutes on that
Sure.
and wrap up where you are right now.
Yeah. So Angela and I have been together for about 3 years.
Okay.
She won't say this, but we've been together since March 3rd, my birthday, which is my
Okay.
actually belly button birthday. I'm
Okay.
coming up on 50. I can't even believe it.
Man, we were just talking about that before here. We're
Yeah.
gonna show up for the 50th.
Dude, I feel like I'm like 21.
That's
Yeah,
right.
You look amazing, bro. Got some gray in that beard, but so what, bro? I know there's a little snow on the roof, but there's a lot of fire in the furnace still. You can tell.
So Angela and I connected, and we, just our first date was actually a punk rock show.
I remember.
Yeah. Let's go.
I invited a lot of everybody from the Step House
Uh-huh.
and some other friends, and she's the only one that showed up. And we, it was a really good show. And
I think that was by design.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
God shot,
We
right?
set that up.
And yeah, we set that one up. But we've been together ever since, and she is awesome. I love her so much.
That's awesome.
We do. I mean, Tanner also, my son Tanner.
Mhm.
We've done so many fun things.
I know you guys are always doing something.
I didn't know where to start. So like, we're always going somewhere.
And where's that
Ensenada.
picture at there, right there?
That is
that the Big
actually-
Ben behind you?
That is. It's
Oh,
Big Ben. We went to London, and
Oh, yeah.
that was really cool to experience that with them.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone on cruises to Ensenada, San
Yeah.
Francisco. That's Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys.
And that's because you were like one of the best salesmen at your work or something, right? Or
I
something.
do all right.
Yeah.
We had a contest, and
Yeah.
shout out Sum Up, 5 stars, formerly 5 stars. Yeah, very blessed.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got to go there, experience that. Saw Stonehenge.
Yeah.
We've gone to Arizona, San Francisco. We're gonna go to Japan.
Yeah. We're talking about that on the way over. That's amazing.
Yep. And that's all thanks to service, man. What it comes down to, my real job is to stay sober. Really, it is.
Right.
I make a living doing something else,
Mm-hmm.
but my primary purpose is to try to be useful to other people.
Absolutely.
I was taught from the gate, from my sponsor, thanks to Matt T. AA is, accountability and accessibility. And he showed me, I jumped in his back pocket. He showed me what to do. I didn't know what to do,
Right.
right? I didn't believe I could be sober, but I believed he
I don't think any
believed.
of us did.
Yeah. I believed that he believed that I could be sober.
Right.
And that was just enough.
Wow.
Right. And so Matt, basically was with a circle of, he showed me what to do. I just copied and pasted. Right.
Right.
All the service, being of service, when you're asked to do something, whether it's a panel
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, speak somewhere, you say yes.
Podcast.
This guy here, podcast, right?
There you go.
Justin over here,
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody, including myself, be as much service as him.
No,
I've never heard him say no to anything.
sponsorship family stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and I love and respect that. I love these guys here, service is ultimately for me, it was a way to get out of myself. It was selfish, basically,
Selfishly unselfish.
selfishly unselfish. Yes. So
One of the paradoxes of many in the program.
yeah, I mean,
You gotta give it away to keep it.
I know that by doing those things, and I'll have the capability to do those fun things. I look forward.
Yeah.
I create goals now. Can you believe that?
Heck yeah.
Dude, my goal, I don't know about you guys, in my active disease, there's no goals.
Yeah.
You kidding me? I was in a garage, dude, peeking out in the sun, cringing, and I had no goals. I didn't believe I could do anything. And it's just totally different now. Setting trips to Japan,
Yeah.
new cars, houses, planning vacations with my family. I have a family, dude.
Yeah.
I don't have some relationship with, an imaginary on the telenovelas or whatever.
Exactly.
I have a person.
This shit's real.
It's real, man.
Yeah.
And she's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah.
She's
Got
actively
quite the
involved.
story there with
Mhm.
her too, and everything, like all of us.
That's cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
It's an awesome life, man. I love it. I mean, I can't even believe I'm living it.
Right?
It's like a movie.
Your life's so good you can hardly wait to come on the podcast and share about it. It's flipping awesome.
Pretty much.
Well, we're kind of winding down here. Does anybody else got any questions? You got any quick questions or anything, Solomon, over there? For
No,
Brandon?
I'm good. I appreciate, you sharing the story with us. And it's always great just to see, I don't even want to call it a happy ending. Like you said, it's always a work in progress. It's always your ongoing job. But to see these pictures of your family, seeing other people who benefit from your hard work and just how you then, it just creates that stronger circle. It's just an amazing story, man. I appreciate you sharing it.
Thank you. You're welcome, man.
Yeah. Thanks, Solomon. Appreciate all that stuff. And anything else you guys want to add to blow up Brandon here for a couple minutes? Anything else?
Yeah, I got a question. So I didn't know, you when you asked Brandon 10 years prior to sponsor you,
Yeah.
did he sponsor you at that time or no?
Yeah, he did
Okay.
temporarily.
Because I misunderstood. And then you said, and then you had another sponsor at that time.
And then at that point, I wanted someone that was like a lot meaner.
Oh.
And Brandon is super cool and super chill.
Yeah.
I just needed someone to kind of like, I asked a big biker guy with the most tattoos to sponsor me. And he sponsored me for a little while, but that stint of sobriety lasted about 18 months.
Yeah. All right. I was just curious. Right on, dude.
Well, that's about a wrap here on Super Sober Podcast 25. I just want to give out, shout out the calls to action right here. Just want to let you know we can be on all platforms. We're on YouTube for the video. You can go to Buzzsprout. You can go to f3recovery.org. You can see the resources page where the remote tax doctor is. You can email us on info@supersoberpodcast.org, info@f3recovery.org. Shout out to the Detox, the script I wrote for Hollywood. Anybody want to see or promote that, you can go to the resources page and see the one sheet on f3recovery.org. And thanks again for everybody shouting out here. Shout out to Solomon at the podcast place here in Long Beach. And we're just going to keep on keeping on. Thank you for SSP 25.
Thank you for listening to the Super Sober Podcast. Go to our website at f3recovery.org. That's F3Recovery, all one word, .org. We're turning fight, flight, and freeze into free form and flowing through practicing the 12 steps and staying accountable to change. Don't forget to keep on keeping on.